All right, let's look at this. The most infamous bootcamp disaster in LoL history. The most infamous one. Let's see it.
Sometimes you put in the work, stay the course, and climb the mountain to become a champion.
This is what peak League of Legends looks like, and it comes from Europe, a world record!
Other times, everything that can go wrong does go wrong in the most spectacular fashion imaginable.
Samsung Galaxy, your 2017 World Champions!
This is the story of one of the biggest meltdowns in League of Legends history. A story of how a team got fined for account sharing, had almost all of their players receive 2-year bans from major tournaments, and even had a manifesto written by their mid laner. This is the story of how CLG tried to big brain Riot and the LCS, and how it backfired right in their faces.
Who clapped CLG when they came back? Who clapped CLG when they came back, chat?
Speaking of big brain, press the subscribe button if you have big brain. Yeah. Heading into the 2014 spring split, CLG brought on Monte Cristo, a caster for OGN and scene veteran, to coach the team remotely from Korea.
He'd had an opportunity to come back to the US probably in break from OGN. He was coming over to the house and coaching the team on a regular basis for like a week. And it was like a really, really good period for the team. The guys were really enjoying it. We were seeing a lot of improvement, success. That's where Monty like started coming to the studio with us for some of the matches and like the spinner that he did, which became a meme.
Through his involvement, the team improved and went from a 6th place finish in 2013 to a 3rd place finish in both the regular season and the playoffs of the spring split 2014.
Look at how dominant Cloud9 was the split. They're unbeatable, bro. They're unbeatable.
While the result was solid, CLG had their sights set on 1st place. So, heading into the summer split, they made a roster change, replacing top laner Nyan with a mostly unknown Korean top laner named Seraph. With this change, CLG was confident that they had fielded a trophy-winning roster. The team comprised top laner Seraph, jungler Dexter, mid laner Link, bot laner Doublelift, and support Aphromoo, and of course, their remote coach Monty. Initially, the roster change seemed to be paying off. CLG was number 1 in the standings for the majority of the summer split, but the team still struggled against C9 and LMQ, the 2 favorites, to win the split. Although CLG felt like their roster
I think they struggled versus us too. Didn't we like 3-1 them over the course of the split? I feel like we were always beating them.
And coaching staff were good, the fact that Monty was in Korea while all the players were in North America meant that the team felt a little bit disconnected from each other.
He had frustrations about his ability to be effective remote, because you know it's very difficult obviously to make sure that the players are like doing what you need them to do and retaining what you want them to have when you're like not in the room, right?
Once the team had officially secured their spot in the playoffs, they had a crazy idea.
I can't remember who exactly floated the idea, but it definitely came up originally as a joke where it's like, dude, we should just go to Korea and boot camp and be with Monty so that like he can work on developing the team, and then we'll come back for playoffs like Goku and Vegeta in the hyperbolic time chamber. Then it kind of evolved into like, wait, could we actually do this? Like we could just
Piss the out of Riot though. Like Riot was pissed the off with this because they actually just sacked the last week of their regular season. And there was like 3 weeks in between regular season and playoffs. So they just went to Korea for a month and they fielded like a full team of subs. And Riot was so pissed.
field like whatever roster we wanted, and the results don't matter. And the team could, you know, go to Korea and get better, and we'd have a better chance at making worlds.
So, that's exactly what they did. CLG just had one more weekend to play before playoffs began. They fielded a team of players from around the scene who weren't starters, and threw them onto a team with Hotshot GG, the founder and owner of CLG, who hadn't played for CLG since 2013.
I mean, I just remember being contacted about it. It's like...
And he lived in our house, by the way. Thinkard lived in our house at the time. He was our third team jungler.
Yo, how would you like to sub for CLG? I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, who are my teammates? And then I was like, wait, those are all subs. What's happening to the main roster? Like, oh, the main roster is going to Korea. We need you guys to play, and we don't really care if you guys win or not. I was like, this doesn't sound like I thought it was going to sound.
The team Hotshot constructed was a band of misfits. Hotshot himself in the mid lane.
Chaox. Wait, do I remember the team? Chaox, Hotshot, Wait, who played top on that team?
Lane,
Actually, I
Nien
don't
was
know.
back in
Oh, Nien was back. I
the
almost
top
said that.
lane.
I don't know
Think
about
Card,
support.
an amateur at the time, filled in as jungler. Chaos was the former ADC for
Wait, did he just call him Chaos?
lane. Think Card, an amateur at the time, filled in as jungler. Chaos was the
No one calls him Chaos, bro. Nah, this guy wasn't around back then, bro. He wasn't around in the scene. He didn't know this guy.
former ADC for TSM, who hadn't competed in the LCS since being replaced by Wild Turtle, and he was joined in bot lane by Baby, now known as Big, who was an
Oh, Baby Eater. His name was Baby Eater.
amateur player at the time.
I think he put it together based on a combination of what would be fun, who he liked, who he thought was good, and really, you know, like the goal was maybe we squeak out a win or two.
While this team was filled with some fairly notable names, the only player on that roster who is still a part of the LCS to this day is Think Card, who's the head coach of NRG.
I got rank 1 that year in solo queue twice. People thought of me as like, okay, this guy might be the next big jungler, so like I was getting like pretty hyped up. I was on the come up, so I was pretty excited about it. Right off the bat, like I want to scrim because, you know, I'm super try hard, and Hotshot was like, nah, we're not scrimming. Like he didn't really care. He was completely checked out.
While the sub roster was facing the
Nice.
trials of the main stage, CLG's main roster was facing reality in Korea.
Riot, understandably, wasn't super happy with our decision to kind of exploit this loophole and send the team off to Korea and
Yep.
field kind of like a joke roster for LCS. And so I remember receiving a not very happy call. The guys needed Korean accounts to play on in Korea, and we couldn't do that without Riot. But they felt, and I think justifiably so, like we were kind of flipping them the finger, and then on the back end of that also asking for Korean accounts. And I believe as well that we had secured Korean accounts without Riot like approval, which is like super TOS. And then they were like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you went here without permission. You're using like verified Korean accounts, and now you want us to get you like legit Korean accounts. They were probably unreasonably accommodating and understanding, and I think at least saw that we were trying to do this from a place of not like malice or contempt for the league. Certainly, we wanted to create an interesting storyline and also give the team the best chance to succeed and perform.
While Riot ended up allowing the bootcamp to go through, account sharing, especially in Korea, is a big issue. As a result, Riot had to put their foot down and punish CLG. When all was said and done, all players except Seraph, who was a native Korean player and played on his own account, were fined $1,250 and were banned from all OGN tournaments for the next 2 years.
The team kind of got crushed a lot, and that kind of hurt morale, and then it kind of snowballed. There was a lot of, you know,
Yeah, apparently they practiced against apparently the best teams in the world. They got shit on, and like when they came back, they had no idea what we had been doing, and like what the NA meta was. Like I don't know why this was a thing, but you just like couldn't give me Nunu for some reason. I could always get Baron at 15 minutes, like almost every single game when I played Nunu. So teams that were scrimming against us knew, like, all right, Curse's play is like the Nunu team. Don't give Dom Nunu. And when they came back, they like, I think they banned it like the first game or something, but I got it the next 2 games and we just like stomped them. It was like we just had Baron at 15 minutes. They couldn't play.
responsibility that was put on, you know, Matt and Monty and Susie, in addition to all their regular responsibilities to try and oversee the team and, you know, help them through this period and stuff like that. So unfortunately, in going to Korea, it didn't really draw the team together. It kind of pulled them apart. And the competitive practice, while certainly like better than what we were getting in the US, because the team's like mental state ended up suffering so much, I think really just kind of ended up being like a negative instead of a positive.
Link, their mid laner, would later go on to release what has been referred to as his Dunzo Manifesto. Near the end of the manifesto, Link goes over explicitly what happened between the team from his perspective. He cited communication and chaos as the major problems with the team. While it may seem melodramatic, it's a window into the disarrayed state of the team. These players were sent halfway around the world to scrim some of the top teams in Korea, and their org was investing in them. Their coaching staff expected a lot from them, leading to tons of internalized pressure. Pressure that they began to buckle beneath. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world,
I mean, they were just low-key bad though as well. Like we were just like better individual players. So as long as we didn't get turbo out macroed by them, because they were pretty smart macro-wise. Like Afro was pretty good at essentially getting everyone to do what was right. In the game, they're a pretty smart team, but they were just like bad players individually. So we just like stomped them just like overpowered them pretty much.
The sub-only Dream Team was quickly becoming a fan favorite.
I like the way that the whole community kind of rallied behind us. It felt like no matter what, everyone was rooting for us, which was a really cool thing. And anytime something went right in game, like we heard the crowd after the game, everyone's going crazy. I think we were nicknamed like Nien and the Boys or something. I don't know, just like the vibes were so cool, especially after
It was Hotshot and Friends. That's what they called it, Hotshot and Friends.
First game, and everyone was like super try hard.
All right, we'll continue watching this after. On the
team. But the first game we played, we were in a really good spot and we almost won. And then after the game, Hotshot was like, "Damn, we should have scrimmed. We probably could have beat them." I was like, "Yeah, no shit, man."
Although they lost their first game of the weekend, it was close, and everyone, it seemed, was cheering for them. Unfortunately,
I don't think we played against them. Did we play against them? I don't think we did.
that first close game was the closest this sub-team got to a win. They went on to lose
Sub-team. Holy shit.
their next 3, going 0-4 on the main stage. Despite losing so many games, ThinkCard says the team didn't get too sad about it. They were just happy to be there, enjoying their time in the limelight.
I thought it was fun the whole time. I mean, I was making some good plays. Like, even though we lost, like, I was still getting some traction and people were coming up to me and be like, "Oh, like, you played really well." So I was still having fun for sure. I just really wanted to win a game. Legitimately, we probably could have won maybe 2 or 3 of them. The last game, Cloud9 kind of trounced us, so I'll give them that one. Cloud9 was good. But the other games, we definitely could have won.
So, while the team of subs was having the time of their lives in the LCS, the main roster was fighting for their lives across the Pacific. With the combined pressure of their coaches, org, and the expectations of their fans, CLG's star-studded roster fell apart emotionally without playing a single game on stage. It felt like they had lost before things had even begun. At the end of the 0-4 weekend, the main CLG roster returned home for playoffs, preparing to face off against Team Curse. Spirits were low, but they were still the top team in the league. Plus, most outside the organization had no idea about their inner turmoil. For all the public knew, CLG went to Korea.
Bro, what? They had no confidence coming. Wait, so they were literally in first place. They went to Korea and they got their asses beat so bad that they actually had no confidence coming back. I heard the opposite. I heard that they were actually overconfident. When they got to playing us, they were doing things that Monty didn't even coach. Like, that's what Monty's perception was like, you used to not be able to be in the call, like on Discord, on like in the comms when you're drafting, right? The coach used to be a completely different thing. So he had a plan. He's like, "All right, here are your draft scenarios. Go on stage, go do it." And they just did none of the fucking scenarios.
Competed with the top teams in the world and were ready to show off their newly refined skills. If they performed well, it would be obvious that their trip to Korea was a success. But if they lost the series, they'd be out of the playoffs, meaning all of this work, the boot camp, the sub roster, the Riot account debacle, it would have been for nothing. The first game against Curse Gaming started off pretty well. Double Lift on Twitch was able to get a couple of kills early, and CLG was ahead in gold by the 30-minute mark. But things went south during a crucial Baron fight when Curse feigned retreat only to re-engage and ace CLG, taking a mid-turret shortly after. CLG
Damn, Quas in Italy. Quas popped off the series.
bounced back through the late game, but kept losing team fights. After Double Lift got caught and melted, CLG ultimately
These clips are out of order.
lose after 50 minutes. The next game was not as close.
Bro, this was actually
CLG
such an
ultimately
impossible.
lose.
Think about, like, wait, we have the worst team comp known to man. Look at our comp. Nidalee top with Nocturne, Syndra, Lucian, Zillion. This game was like fucking impossible to play. I remember feeling like this game was really hard to play, like when we were in it. Like we somehow ended up winning, but this was a fucking hard. This is a 52-minute game. It was difficult. How shit was our comp, bro? What was our drafting? We needed a coach. Like, imagine playing Nocturne with this. Like, when you play Nocturne, you want, like, engage. You want people to follow you up. We have Nidalee top Syndra with a fucking Nocturne Lucian Zillion. That shit was impossible to play. Somehow we won. The fact that we won this game just shows how fucking shit CLG was. Trash players.
After 50 minutes. The next
Besides for Afro.
game was not as close. CLG looked dejected and got speedrun in only 22 minutes.
Nope. 22 minutes. Speed run.
Not as close. CLG
They gave me Nunu, and it's over, bro. You can't give me Nunu.
looked dejected and got speedrun in only 22 minutes. For a fighting chance not only at qualifying for Worlds,
They gave us Nunu again. GG, bro. GG, bro. Look into my face, bro. Look into my eyes. That's me right there. That Nunu, that's me right there.
but
Can't give me
also
that
staying
shit.
alive in the series, they
We did not lose a game on Nunu the entire playoffs. We would just get it banned. People just banned it every game.
desperately needed a win. The game started slow, with CLG overextending and giving up first blood. Then, CLG lost the first team fight and decided to play defensively. With Curse slowly but surely taking control of the map, the nail in the coffin came during Curse's Baron attempt. Since they were up more than 12k gold,
Bro,
CLG
the Flash Nunu, bro. What do you know about those mechanics? What do you know about Season 4 Nunu mechanics? Look at this shit.
often came during
Look at that
Curse's
Nunu.
Baron attempt. Since they were up more than 12k
Boom. How do you play, bro? How can you play?
gold,
Look at them. Look at them. They can't play.
CLG stood no chance. They got wiped, and Curse
Oh my god.
pushed to win, eliminating CLG from
Yeah, never seen a Nunu with those types of mechanics before.
the playoffs and destroying their hopes for the season. Even though the world's hopes were crushed, the team still had to play a
I think I was chanting CLG here at the end.
They got wiped, and Curse pushed to win, eliminating
Kind of a hard clip. Like we 3-0 them.
CLG from the playoffs and destroying their hopes for the season. Even though their world's hopes were
Destroy their
crushed,
dreams,
the team
hopes,
still had
everything.
to play a best of 5 against Dignitas to see who. Even though
Look
their
at
world's
Double. He
hopes
doesn't even want to shake my hand.
were
Look at
crushed,
him. Look at him, bro. He's turning around, bro. He knows I'm coming. He's turning around.
the team still
He's
had to
done.
play a best of 5
He's turning around, bro. He didn't want it, bro. He didn't want it.
against Dignitas to see who would be placed 5th and who would be placed 6th. The team wasn't just fighting for placement, they were fighting to avoid potential relegation. In the first game, CLG actually got a win, and the players
Our team was actually like pretty solid at that point. We kind of peaked.
take a breath of relief, knowing it wouldn't be a clean sweep. Unfortunately, Dignitas came back and won 3 in a row. Ultimately, CLG felt like a shadow of their former self, and despite going into the hyperbolic time chamber known as Korean League of Legends, they had nothing to show for it. Although the story is one of tragedy, it didn't go without its highs. ThinkCard remembers the time fondly, as does most of the sub
Yeah, the subs that didn't get their asses beat, they got to play LCS for 1 week that had no investment into the team. They felt pretty good about it. Cool.
roster. As for the main CLG roster, everyone but Doublelift and Afromu were let go. The meltdown of the bootcamp led to a lot of criticism during the offseason, and at one
Wait,
point,
that's actually just not true, by the way. Like, this is just a lie.
Hotshot himself responded to a Reddit comment where he said the famous line, "Have more faith. If you have no faith, why are you guys even here?"
Wait, it's literally just not even historically accurate. Like, Link stayed on the team, and then he ended up leaving after spring. Wait, let me just double check. Let's just make sure I'm not the retard. Let me see. Let's go to the other CLG versus TL season 5 quarterfinals. Yeah, Link was just on the roster. Dude, it's kind of crazy that these videos, they don't even like make sure that they are correct in what they had. And then they also said the manifesto was because of this bootcamp. The manifesto was like when Link ended up leaving after we beat their ass 3-0 again the next split.
Maybe. I assume that if it worked, then more teams would have done it. I mean, they were the first ones. Props to them. They handled all the flame, came back, lost. They had to handle the flame too. So it's like when you are paving the way for something, if it doesn't work out, you're going to get flamed. So I do appreciate like the confidence and the fact that they went for it, but it definitely did not work out.
Despite the disaster of 2014, Hotshot was right, and the team quickly turned things around in 2015, winning the 2015 summer split and the 2016 spring split. And although the Korean bootcamp,
But they didn't actually quickly turn things around. Like, they had another catastrophe in 2015, right? They had another catastrophe in 2015. Then they fired their coach and they fired Link. Then they brought Pobelter in, and then their team was pretty good.
experiment failed, it gave us one of the best storylines in League of Legends history. If you want more League of Legends content, you can check out this video talking about the Korean solo queue legend, Apto. Just click here.
This video is inspiring me to try to make content like this.
Shout out and thanks to
Because, like, for me, like, I guess doing videos like this would be really fun because I, like, lived it, you know? Like, so I wouldn't need to fact check as hard.